Hey, everybody, welcome to Breakfast All Day. Matt, Christy, Alonso, 18 years later? How many years has it been since Bad Boys
John
2?
Burgundy?
I think
Ron Burgundy. Oh,
I
my
think
God.
I think it was 18 years. Yeah, 18 years. Bad Boys for Life, opening this weekend. Not directed by Michael Bay this time, but still starring.
So he gets to be in it.
He gets to be in
Michael
it.
Bay is in it?
There's a cameo from Michael Bay. It's real weird.
I missed it because I had the pleasure of going to the actual screening of a Tyler Perry movie.
Which those are rare.
Which I'm guessing because it's his Netflix movie. It's his first Netflix movie that they insisted upon a screening. So there was one and they're like, we're not sending you screeners, so you better come to this.
Wow.
So I was there on Tuesday night. I hope we can catch up with that next week because that's batshit crazy.
I think you missed a good movie.
Okay, I'm seeing it tonight, actually. I have to go see it tonight to go do radio with your husband tomorrow. But so I missed Bad Boys for Life, but I want to hear you guys talk about it.
Okay, so this actually is my first Bad Boys movie. I didn't see 1 and 2.
Were you so lost?
Oh, yeah.
Why are they bad?
Such deep characters.
They're not boys, and they're not bad.
That actually comes up.
Yeah, grumpy old bad boys at this point.
Good men.
Martin Lawrence is the family man, and the movie opens with the birth of his grandchild, which has him thinking about retirement, and of course Will Smith still not having it, and lots of running around Miami, and a someone from Will Smith's past is out for revenge. She is this widow of a big cartel guy who is known as La Bruja, played
the
by
witch.
Exactly, played by Kate Del Castillo, and she has her reasons for wanting to go after Will Smith and also all these other people, and so her son, who she has trained as like super assassin, kills off like a prosecutor and a judge and a DEA agent, and nobody makes any kind of effort to like lock down security for other people who might get assassinated by this guy. They just sort of chase after him, and then Will Smith gets shot by him, and there's a video that goes viral. And is Martin Lawrence gonna retire? Are they gonna go get the bad guys? And what do you think is gonna happen? And think that happens. It's. Look, I'm going to say this is a well-made movie that is not for me.
Why is it not for you?
Because I was alive in the 80s and even reviewing movies in the 80s, and I feel like I've seen this action movie so many times at this point.
The mismatched buddy cop comedy.
Exactly, with like the gigantically over-the-top pyrotechnic finale. I'm like, it made me feel old. Like, it made me feel like I've seen this so many times, which is not to say that it's not done well.
Was Bad Boys, though, was the original like not one of the prototypes of that exact genre, though, right?
So the first Bad Boys is really what put Michael Bay on the map.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's the first over-the-top, like, oh, this is what that guy can do.
What year was the first Bad Boys? I'll look it up. I'll look it up.
Look, like if you're looking for what you got in the first and second movie, this is what you're going to get. And that was really satisfying. We're revisiting characters we know.
1995 is the first one.
There's a great throwback joke to one of the earlier movies, and they reference, they go a little over the top with the reference of it, but there's a great throwback to, and those people who've seen the movies before will remember the scene where Marcus's older daughter is going to go on a date, and the kid shows up, and Mike and Marcus totally mess with him about like one of them just got out of prison and the other one's, are you, they just really, really intimidate this kid. And so there's a great throwback to that. Joe Pantoliano is doing what he did in the previous movies, a little bit softer in this one. He's got this, actually kind of crazy Zen moment in the movie.
Who does?
Joe Pantoliano.
Pantoliano. This is a story that was co-written by Joe Carnahan, and I think it really, really benefits from that. I had a good time in this movie, and it's not reinventing the wheel. It does struggle with being kind of as sharp as certainly the first one.
It's directed by two Belgian filmmakers who collectively go by Adil and Bilall, and I have to say, like, Dave was saying that it was far more coherent than either of the Michael Bay directed ones. And not having seen them, I will say that from what I do know about Michael Bay action movies, this did seem like it was more sort of visually coherent than I would expect.
I would say that that's fair. The first, especially the second one is really over the top with set pieces. And it's almost like, how can we get all these big action sequences and set pieces in one film? similar to how The Rock kind of like
Right.
stretches at the seam. This does the same thing. That being said, I had a good time. There's, it does play up the chemistry. They still have good chemistry. It is funny to watch them do age jokes about Will Smith because he seems like, like Keanu Reeves, he's not aged in the last 20 years.
Yeah, the chases are well executed. I think Martin Lawrence is good when they're being funny, but when they have to have like serious heart-to-hearts,
Right.
I can feel him acting.
So along those lines, everything I've seen about it on Twitter is people saying, I thought it'd be a big dumb action movie, and I was shocked at how legitimately moving it is when it takes its dramatic turn. You did not buy that, it sounds like, Alonso.
Not so much, but again, I'm not invested in these characters because I didn't see the first two movies. I have some observations, but they are spoilers, so maybe we're gonna have to like tell people to fast forward or something in a moment. But we'll get to that.
I don't disagree with that. There's a couple of moments that, especially like there's one particular moment that hits as a surprise and is much more moving than I would have expected out of a Bad Boys movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, I don't want to mess with anything. There are some elements that I thought, and I won't discuss them in this, but it feels like something else we kind of just saw.
Will Smith is 51, by the way.
Okay, I want to spoil something because I know what you want to talk about, and I want to talk about that too.
All right,
So if you don't want to know the big third act reveal of Bad Boys for Life, either stop listening now or skip ahead or whatever. But we can't not talk about this.
Well,
Okay. Is this the thing that people seem to like?
You want to
is
do it
dramatic?
at the end after we do our scores? And
okay, we'll do.
yeah, we'll do it.
Okay,
Okay.
We'll extend.
Okay, well, how about this? Let's give our scores.
Okay.
All right.
Alonso, what's your number?
I said 6.5. Like, I was kind of bored when things weren't blowing up, but when things are blowing up or cars are chasing, I was digging it. It felt, this often felt to me like whichever Expendables movie it was, where Stallone brings in all the new, like the Ronda Rousey and the young team.
Oh, yeah.
So much of this movie feels like a backdoor pilot for like
absolutely.
spin-off movies about like Vanessa Hudgens and Alexander Ludwig and the first Reggie from Riverdale and, that crew.
So, who was the first Reggie from Riverdale?
Hang on, I'll look him up.
So the guy that was in
Charles Melton.
Charles Melton, thank you.
The one that was in the guy that was the male lead in Son Is Also a Star is in this, and Vanessa Hudgens, who's given almost nothing to do.
Yeah, she's only here because you can tell they're like, but if this goes, well,
and so that's where it loses some points for me because I very much felt like, oh, they're trying to start something else here, and then there's a little bit of an Easter egg that in case you didn't catch it before, they really doubled down on it. So stay at least until the credits really start to roll in earnest. But so I'm about there with you, 6.5. Like it would have been higher if they weren't trying to distract and trying to set us up for some other element in this franchise. But I can see how, whereas Smith is definitely up for the action these days, I don't think Martin Lawrence really is.
Well, okay,
right?
so Will Smith's 51 and Martin Lawrence is 55.
Well, right, and Will Smith is significantly better shape than Martin. No, but I mean, like he's continued to do action movies, whereas the Bad Boys series was a little bit of a step out of the regular tone of what we would see Martin Lawrence do for the most part.
Okay.
So
right,
anyway,
so your number's a 6.5.
6.5.
It's at 75% on the Tomatometer, and I wonder how much of that sentiment is like, wow, this is better than I thought it was going to be, and it's January.
For a long delayed sequel in January. If this is your kind of movie and if you're down for this franchise, you'll probably enjoy yourself.
Right. All right. So spoilers.
Okay.
All right.
Here
Let's
come
talk
the
about a couple of big spoilers. Don't watch past this if you don't want to be spoiled.
And if you're listening to the podcast, maybe like zip ahead by 3 minutes or something.
Okay. So this movie is fascinating, coming on the heels of Gemini Man.
Thank you.
Because Gemini Man is about how Will Smith is the super spy who can only be taken down by the younger version of himself, i.e. his clone. This movie, the third act reveal, is that Kate Del Castillo's son is actually Will Smith's son. And again, super cop Will Smith can only be taken down by his own DNA.
Oh, so wait, did she have an affair with him?
Yes, years earlier.
Years earlier.
So, and weirdly, you could almost even look at After Earth as being part of this, Will Smith and his Spawn trilogy. So that I think is the most interesting idea in this movie, at least in terms of how it goes in this sort of wave of movies he's making now that are all about the same thing.
Yeah.
Who is the kid? What's the kid's name?
The actor is Jacob Scipio.
Okay.
Right. And then that
looking.
Easter egg at the end where it's like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is what this movie expects us to
Hey,
believe.
you killed a bunch of people, but
That the guy, that Will Smith's son, who has killed a bunch of people, including Joey Pants. Sorry to break it
right.
to you.
See, now that moment is great. That's
yeah,
that
shocked me
that
because
was a
I
shocking
didn't see it coming.
and really moving moment in the
Yeah,
movie.
that's like Chewbacca was on that transport
Yeah,
moment.
exactly.
But the idea that he killed their police captain, but they're still going to maybe use him even though he's in prison, like on sort of Fast and Furious type missions in future sequels. That's the little Easter egg. At the
He'll
end
be
Interesting.
he'll be the actual bad boy on the crew of the new Bad Boys.
Yes.
Because he's an actual boy. And he's bad.
Well, but they're all like that.
And
They're all
there
like
are also
12.
two separate characters in this movie who commit to non-violence and then are like, meh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll warn folks on the actual phrasing of the podcast blurb.
Yes.
Okay.
Zip ahead to this point.
I couldn't not bring that up.
All right. All right. Thank you for listening to this.
Bye.